So in this episode of Star Trek Attacking Tactical Table, we'll be going over one more minor faction. In this case, it's Species 8472. Now, most people don't consider Species 8472 a minor faction because, despite having only 3 expansions, they're very powerful. So 2 of them are retail, the Alpha and the Beta, but the Omega is a prize ship. Or not a prize ship, but a blind ship. And because of its good cards, it's actually quite a bit more expensive than the average blind ship. Let's start with the Alpha. Let's see, if you do at least 3 damage, place an Ox token besides the enemy ship. Anyway, so here are your basic stats. 6 attack, 2 evade, 5 hull, 6 shields for 38 points. Amazing stats on these guys. With 3 tech, 2 weapons, and no battle stations, but instead they have the regen. So absolutely fantastic stats, very powerful ships. With your average large ship maneuver dial, 3 red turns, 3 come about. Nothing too out of the ordinary there. So that's the Alpha. The Beta, when defending during the compare result step, if you may cancel 1 hit result. If you do, place an Ox token beside your ship. So that's only once per turn. You can do that still, canceling 1 damage for an Ox token. It's not bad. And the Beta, or the Omega here, during the damage step, if you inflict 2 critical damage, you may immediately flip those damage cards face down and rotate the damage ships facing by 90 degrees. So, I mean, it's not going to happen very often, but if it does happen, you'd basically just fly someone right off the board with that. So those are the 3 ships. Again, very large ships. 6'2", 5'6" are amazing stats. Of course, there's only 3 captains to go with those, 1 for each ship. So we got a skill 7 Alpha pilot. You may look at an enemy's maneuver. Beta pilot, there's 8 skill. When attacking, you may reroll 1 of your blank results. If your ship was just destroyed and another friendly ship is in range 1-2, you may replace that ship's captain with this card. So it just transports over. And then the Omega captain is only 1 point for 2 skill, but his ability is amazing. Disable this card and 2 of your active shields to target a ship at range 1 and inflict 1 critical damage to that ship's hull. This card is absolutely amazing. So you disable 2 of your shields, disable your captain, which is only skill 2, it's not a big deal, and you just do a crit to an enemy's hull. No shields, no defense, they just take a crit. And because he's skill 2, he's going to be moving before other ships, which is why this little captain skill is so important for this ability. Because that way you can move up to your opponent's opponent's ship and just do that crit before anyone else moves. This is, for a 1 point, this is an absolutely fantastic card. Their secondary weapons are, they have them, they're not really interesting because of the very high primary weapon attack on the ships already, so their secondary weapons really don't do much. We have an interesting here, biological attack. At the end of the activation phase, if your ship base is touching an enemy ship base, you may discard this upgrade to disable your captain card to inflict 1 critical damage to the enemy ship's hull. Disable one of the crew choices on the enemy ship. So just by touching, you can actually do some damage. It's 5 points, kind of spendy. And then you have biological weapon. 5 dice, 2 to 3 attack hits. In addition to normal damage, discard 1 crew upgrade of your choice in the defending ship for each battle station result. But you can be using the battle stations to get, well, they don't, so the battle stations, since you don't have battle stations actions, that's a good use of them. But 6 points for this, again, it's just better just to pound people into oblivion with these guys. So the secondary weapons really aren't very useful. There's only 2 elite talents. Telepathy. You may discard this card immediately before you move in order to change your maneuver. Not a bad ability for 4 points. The weak will perish. When you're attacking with your primary weapon after rolling attack dice, you may discard, and disable your captain to choose any number of your attack dice and reroll them up to 2 times. So it's just a good way to make sure that you get all 6 or 7 hits. So, and what they, since they have no crew, they have a lot of tech. And all their cards are tech. That's why there's 3 tech slots on each ship. Let's see here. There's a lot of things to go over here. Let's see, any things that's really good. So these are the cards that came with the Omega and why they're really good. Resistant Hull. You may roll your full defense dice to try to scan tokens. And can also affect, give you additional resistance against Borg upgrades that don't specifically say can't affect 8472. So 1 point, tech, not bad. Neuropeptides for 2 points. You may discard this card to perform an action as a free action. You can't have more than one on ship. Again, 2 points. Very good upgrade. And Resistant Hull. No, what was the other one? Oh, here it is. Here's the other one. Organic Conduits. When you reveal a red maneuver, you may discard this card to treat that maneuver as a white maneuver. So when you do that 3 come about, it's now white. You do your actions. Again, a 1 point tech. So these are the 3 cards that come with the Omega, which is why that ship is a little more expensive than the average blind ship, because of those cards. I mean, for 1 point, for those prices, those are great. So there's 2. Let's see, there's a whole bunch of other techs here. Let's see what we have. Some of the important ones here we have. Most of these aren't very useful. Fluidic Space. Instead of making a normal move, you may discard this card to remove your ship from the player. Immediate place back anywhere with the player, but not within range 1/2 of another ship. You cannot attack or perform any actions. So this is immediately comes back on the play area. And then we also have the Quantum Singularity, which is an action, and then you remove from play area and then put it back at the end phase. So those are 2 very good cards to run around the board. They're all 6 points though. It's kind of expensive. When defending, roll +1 defense dice, and it gives you a chance, a defense against ganking cards. It's not really worth 6 points. Electrodynamic Fluid, discard this card to perform a second maneuver, or you can perform a sensor echo if not cloaked. For disable or discard for 5 points, not that great. That's why most people don't run these things. Bioelectric Interference, action, discard this card to target all other ships within range 1 to 3. Target ships must discard all tokens, and flip cloaks down. In addition, your ship cannot be target locked this round. Meh. Extraordinary Immune Response. When defend, you may discard this card, roll an extra defense dice for every damage card that is by your ship card. So as it gets hit, but you know, if that was a permanent ability, it would be great. But it's only a discard, so not that great. Biological Technology. 1 mission token of this card at the start of each planning phase. When attacking, you may spend up to 2 of these tokens to add an equal number of attack dice. You may spend okay. So basically, it just sits there and accumulates tokens, and then you can spend those to either gain attack or defense dice. It's not a bad card for 5 points. Not a bad card at all. But it's, I don't know how often it's actually come into play. So that is Species 8472. Only 3 expansions. A lot shorter video than the other ones because there's not a lot to talk about here. But as far as the upgrades go, but basically you don't need any upgrades. You just put the captains on these guys, and you just pound your opponents into oblivion because they just hit so darn hard. And with that regen ability, if you can clear out, if you get a couple turns where you're not going to get attacked, just hit the regen on your hull, and you can even add more resiliency. So that's 8472. Very, very powerful faction. No doubt about that. And if you're running cross faction, where you get like free actions and stuff, then they just become absolutely stupid. You get Picard on one of these bioships, and it just becomes absolutely insane what these things can hit, how hard these things can hit. So that's it for this episode of Star Trek Attack Wing Tactical Table, and I'll talk to you later.